Hey, my handsome ladies and gentlemen, this is Shmeaty, and in today's video, this team on your screen with Dirge-Dily, and Shadow Quagsire gained me 100 ELO. That's right, in the Summer Cup, this particular team may look as if it's a little bit alignment dependent, but I venture to say that these three picks in particular are strong enough on their own where they can fight back against almost all of their bad matchups. That being said, you will have games where, if you do play this team, you would wish you had better alignment, but there's not a single team that you can run where you wouldn't feel that way. All that being said, if you like today's video and find enjoyment out of it, please feel free to leave it a like and subscribe, and without keeping you too much longer, let's get into the battles. Kicking things off with game number 1, and Skeledirge will find a Vigoroth on lead. This is a very bait-dependent matchup. If the Vigoroth successfully lands a Rock Slide, it can handily win this matchup. However, if the Skeledirge correctly calls a Body Slam, which it looks like we're looking to do, Skeledirge can cook the Vigoroth. They're going to safe switch into their Toxapex, and in comes my Quagsire. Quagsire, even without running Mud Bomb, is in a very dominant position in this matchup. It doesn't even need the Mud Bomb, it just makes the matchup a little more clean if you have it. We're going to fire off this Stone Edge, does big damage onto the Toxapex. They're going to make a last second brine, and here I have a decision to make on whether or not I want to preserve my Quagsire here. Going to fire off another Stone Edge after no shielding, and they're going to commit a shield at the last second. I'm going to be able to make an Aqua Tail. Aqua Tail will not be enough to KO, so we're going to have to be content with our shield advantage, and we're going to have to give it right back up as the Toxapex is able to make a last second brine. Brine would do a sizable amount of our remaining HP on our Skeledirge, so we're fine with putting up a shield. Back in comes the Vigoroth. We're firing off our Disarming Voice immediately as we already have 100 energy. Now we're going to fire off Disarming Voice number 2, putting a lot of pressure onto this Vigoroth. They're going to put up a shield. Vigoroth is reaching for a move. They're going to fire off a move, and I'm shielding. I don't care what this is. It's another Body Slam bait. They're going to look to reach another move, but they get KO'd, and whatever's in back does not want to see Skeledirge. GG's to that trainer. Getting right back into it with game number 2, and it's a terrible lead to boot. Skeledirge into a Whiscash. We're going to bring in our Quagsire immediately, but this is only enough for a Mud Bomb. I'm not going to shield a Mud Bomb, and they are going to safe switch into their Double. Pretty neutral Pokemon. It's kind of like a worse Vigoroth with worse pacing. Unfortunately, they're going to be able to soak up all my Quagsire's energy here. And my Quagsire is low enough where if they make 2 Body Slams, I'm just going to have to concede switch. Unfortunately, I wasn't thinking about that at this time, and I was hoping that I'd be able to make a last second Aqua Tail here to maybe force a shield or switch advantage myself. But no, unfortunately I go down a shield and go down switch, get a little bit of an energy lead onto my Cradily, and they are core broken in the back. They have a Charge Bug. This is very good for me. Rock Slide onto the Charge Bug. It's going to do sizable damage, but crucially not be enough to KO. I am going to bank a Rock Slide for later and switch into my Skeledirge. I was going for an attempted catch of an X-Scissor and sneaky Incinerate Sneak. Unfortunately, that wasn't to be. They're going to fire off another Mud Bomb, and this Whiscash is not building up to the Scald. I should have been seeing so many major red flags being raised here. Unfortunately, I did not, and they're going to be able to farm down my Skeledirge before I make a move. And here, you're going to see Shmeaty toss a game. I am absolutely selling. I should have seen that Blizzard coming from a mile away. That Blizzard nearly KOs my Cradily, and the surprise nuke will win the game for this trainer. GG's. Into the next game, and Skeledirge is going to find its favorite lead ever into a Chestnut, and Chestnut is going to immediately have to get out of here into a Shadow Typhlosion. Shadow Typhlosion. I was expecting them to throw the Thunder Punch immediately, however they unfortunately did not, and they're going to fire off a Blast Burn and do big damage onto my Quagsire. That's no problem for me. I'm going to no-shield the Blast Burn and go for an Aqua Tail here. Aqua Tail commands a shield from the Typhlosion as they know they would get one shot. Typhlosion is going to fire off another move. It's going to be a Thunder Punch. I'm going to shield it up. I'm playing for switch. 2 more Mud Shots into another Aqua Tail, and we're going to fire off this Aqua Tail. We're reaching for this last second Aqua Tail, and we get it via the damage registration error. This is a huge moment in this game. As you can see in the back, they have the Chestnut, and then they have a Whiscash which gets aligned onto a Cradily. and DRE bails us. Somebody order a Lickitung on lead. Unfortunately, I do not have a very strong response to Lickitung, and Cradily is not much of a safe switch with Vigoroth being everywhere, so I am going to play this out a little bit with my Skeledirge. They're going to fire off a move here. I call it as a body slam, and indeed it is. However, my Skeledirge is still pretty low here. Make no mistake, I fire off the Disarming Voice. I have another one loaded. Unfortunately, they are going to be able to make a last-second move here. It's going to be a Power Whip, and they get a lick through that they shouldn't have because I clicked on my move. That's really unfortunate. I'm going to bring in my Cradily, hoping to get an energy lead onto it. And we're just going to fire off this Rock Slide to get rid of the Lickitung. We don't want to see it, and we don't want them to reach a Power Whip and force a shield from us. In the back, they have an Ariados. This is a crazy spice pick I've not seen quite yet in the league. We're going to fire off a Rock Slide onto it, forcing a shield from them. And here, we have a decision to make. Are we going to shield this lunge? I'm going to no-shield the lunge. It's super effective, does a lot of damage onto us, and they're going to fire off another move here. Honestly, we're going to no-shield this one as well. We're keeping our composure very well. We get the guaranteed debuff. They go for the catch of the Stone Edge onto their Swampert, but we're not falling for it. We're firing off an Aqua Tail onto the Swampert. Unfortunately, we're debuffed and not doing a lot of damage, but we're going to be able to make another Aqua Tail before they fire off their Hydro Cannon, which is very nice for me. I'm going to fire off a third Aqua Tail, and finally, we should be getting some shield pressure onto the Swampert. Swampert is building up a massive amount of energy, but now they have no shields left. I'm putting up a shield, preserving my Quagsire. I feel like is the win con in this game. We bring in the Cradily, they fire off a Hydro Cannon, and that energy is now gone. I'm going to be able to come in with my Quagsire. They're looking to catch another move onto their Ariados, and this is 2 failed catches in a row. A Stone Edge one-shots the Ariados, and we're going to be able to make a last-second Aqua Tail and KO the Swampert. GG's to this trainer. Into this next game, we're going to lead Skeledirge into a Vigoroth lead, and we know how we love to play this one out. We're going to fire off 3 Incinerates, and we're going to call a bait. We're going to see, does this Vigoroth fall for the trap as well? I'm not shielding it. It's going to be a Rock Slide, and Skeledirge immediately gets its world rocked by that Rock Slide. Nevertheless, we're going to fire off a Shadow Ball into the incoming Toxapex, and we're going to build up a bunch more energy as we're not threatened by getting farmed down from resisted fast move pressure from a Toxapex. They're going to fire off a move here. It's going to be a Brine. They know they're not going to be able to survive a move here, so we're going to overfarm to the point that they get to another Brine. Stone Edge, of course, going to go through and get the KO onto the Toxapex here, and they're going to bring back in their Vigoroth. I'm going to fire off this Aqua Tail so that they can't deny it with a Body Slam. I'm going to fire it off sooner rather than later. They're going to build up to just before I get to another Aqua Tail. Very smart play by this trainer. They could have also played into CMP, as I believe Vigoroth would easily win that. But I'm going to bring in my Skeledirge, put some pressure on this Vigoroth, and see if they want to commit a shield or not. They do not. They're going to let the Skeledirge go, and they're going to bring in a Charge-Bug in the back. And you would think, since we're taking super effective damage from these X-Scissors, that this is a bad matchup, but it absolutely is not, especially not when they throw on alignment. So they give us a full free Bullet Seed. We're going to fire off a Rock Slide. They know shield as well, but now they're not going to be able to outpace me. I have 2 shields here, and I'm going to be able to throw 1 and the Rock Slide. I'm going to be able to build up to another Rock Slide here, and now, moment of truth, X-Scissor onto our Cradily. We're going to fire off another Rock Slide, get both of the shields from this Charge-Bug, but now we're just going to do a little bit of a sneaky play, catch their move onto our Skeledirge, and since that Incinerate registers, they're going to get KO'd by it. GG's to this trainer. Final game of the video, and it's going to be a little bit of an awkward lead. Skeledirge into a Cradily, and naturally you may think that this isn't a particularly good matchup for the Skeledirge, but Skeledirge can actually put in a decent amount of work here. They're going to fire off a Rock Slide, but we know 1 doesn't KO, so we're going to no-shield the first Rock Slide and put up a shield on their second Rock Slide. I'm now at 100 energy, so I am going to have to undertap my Shadow Ball, as firing off another Incinerate would do nothing for me, but we're going to get a shield with this Shadow Ball, throw 1 more Incinerate, and another Shadow Ball will actually pick up a KO on this Cradily if they don't shield. They opt not to shield, and they're going to bring in their own Skeledirge, looking to get an Incinerate down, but we live on 1 HP. Do they know? This is just a Disarming Voice, but they put up the shield anyway, and we have our Quagsire in back awaiting this Crocodile. They're going to fire off another move here, but I call it as a Disarming Voice. They had no incentive to do that. In comes a Charge-Bug, and Charge-Bug is going to meet its maker here. Quagsire with the Stone Edge, going to blast the Charge-Bug into a different plane of existence. Unfortunately, they're going to be able to make another move here, but it just doesn't matter. We're going to be able to get this Bullet Seed down. It doesn't matter if I shield this next X-Scissor or not. We're going to be able to live on 1 HP, get the Bullet Seed down, bring me that Skeleturge. I just want to talk. We know this Rock Slide won't be quite enough to KO, but that's okay. I've got the Quag in the back. 2 Mud Shots will end the game. GG's to this trainer. If you made it to this point in the video, thanks so much for watching. It really means a lot to me. And a special thanks to everyone who watched and interacted with my last video in any way, making it my most successful video to date. You guys really killed it with the support on that video, and I can't thank you enough. And if you guys like that, trust me, we've got a whole rest of the season, and I've got a whole lot more planned for you guys coming up in the near future. All that being said, talking about today's team, if you guys really did like it, honestly, I can recommend it. Past the point of the last team that I ran, which was Skeleturge, Chargebug, and Feraligatr, this team actually carried me into an even higher ELO bracket. I'm now in the high 2300s. Last time I was in the high 2200s, and I really recommend this team if you guys are searching for one and have the pieces to build it. All that being said, thanks again so much for watching. This has been Shmeaty. I hope to see you guys next time, and have a good rest of your day. Bye.